asking you to acknowledge that people who believe in DEI do not define it that way. They do not define it as equality.
I think they define it as trying to guarantee outcomes, and I think they define it as trying to punish people they don't like.
Scott, that's
politically, wrong race, wrong gender.
Speaking from more of the middle of the country.
What's happening, everybody? I've got another Scott Jennings for you today. Scott Jennings joins a news night with Abby Phillip and an especially worked up panel of more crazy liberals. This one finds Scott Jennings dodging mortar fire from every angle. Well, I guess no more than usual, I guess. And this was from February 5th, for those who want to know. So if you want to bail, now's the time. Anyway, let's watch Scott Jennings obliterate a bunch of unhinged wokies over a topic that I'd hoped we'd nipped in the bud. DEI. Let's go.
A cabinet that has perhaps more Fox hosts than people who...
You know what makes them
people of
qualify?
color.
Yes. No, don't do it. Let her finish.
And I would just ask, Scott, if race is not the issue, then why is DEI mentioned every
5
single
seconds.
day as a solution to every single problem that faces this
Because of how pervasive it is,
but do you
and
think
how
it's
hateful
really
it is
true?
to an actual conservative ideological view.
But do you think it is true that all of America's ills, from the plane crash to whatever it is, wildfires, due to DEI for real?
I think that if you believe in the fundamental principle of America, which is that we guarantee everybody an equal chance, not an equal outcome, but an equal chance, then trying to go around that principle, conservatives don't believe in it. And most people who believe in America don't believe in it, number one. Number two, the concept of not hiring the best person for the job in government or anywhere else has been repeatedly rejected by the American people, the Supreme Court, and everything else. And so
what do you mean? So I guess what I'm saying is, like, if that is the case, then people are questioning the actual qualifications of many people Donald Trump hired for jobs.
Yeah.
So do you think that he actually...
Why?
Because Elon Musk doesn't even go here.
Do you think that he...
That's why.
This is the question people are asking. This is the question that Ryan Clark just asked. Did Donald Trump, for Health and Human Services, find the person with the best expertise to address
this is not a
when it comes to the Department of Defense, did he find the person with the best expertise to address those issues, or did he just find people who he liked?
Political appointees have one qualification. They serve at the pleasure of the president because the president believes that person's going to best carry out their agenda. That is the only qualification.
And to protect and defend the Constitution.
And that is the only. That's the only qualification for a political appointee.
Competency doesn't matter.
Of course, they're competent. Of course, he believes they're competent. If he didn't believe they were competent, he wouldn't appoint them.
I'm not being fair with that. You're not being fair with that response. She asked you a very simple question: yes or no. Look at the appointees. Do you believe DEI had anything to do with those appointees? Do you believe they were qualified? Do you think they would protect and defend the Constitution that represents all of the people of the United States of America?
I think Mark Rubio.
I think you all have literally no idea how the government works, is what I actually
do.
I
do. I served at a higher level than anyone here.
A couple people at this table have served in the government.
Yeah, me too.
Including for this former president.
I just want to say that I think the premise that DEI exists and therefore the people that got the opportunity, perhaps because of DEI, are not qualified is a flawed premise.
Correct.
And I think that is what is so frustrating about the argument around DEI. We know in this country historically, and even today, there are still injustices in this country based on race, based on gender, based on ideology.
Based on who your daddy played golf with.
Yes.
Okay, that happens every...
No, we don't think DEI is the cause of all of America's ills. When it's appropriate, we will say that DEI was responsible for or contributed to something. The fact that they're even arguing about and trying to defend DEI is crazy to me. I've never met anyone that didn't laugh when it's brought up. No one wants DEI initiatives funded by the federal government. And yes, I feel very confident that I'm speaking for the majority of the American people by saying that. Every single person watching this knows that on the right, we want everyone to enjoy equality of opportunity, but we oppose equality of outcomes. I don't understand how this statement doesn't just end the debate immediately. It's the most reasonable stance on the planet. I mean, do they not get it, or are they being willfully ignorant? I really don't know. Let's get back to it.
every single day. We
It's
know
called-
But
that.
it happens every single day all over the planet.
That's
the
what I'm
planet Earth. It is
And
human
so-
nature.
That's-
it is human.
No,
every
it's
single,
not in the same
and we're the
way
best at it. We're the best at trying
We
to.
know
include
Donald Trump's our
people.
president.
Arthur, I guess that's exactly my point. I agree with you. I think that it is true that there have been preferences not for merit since the dawn of time. And that in this country right now, the same people who are going after DEI, which is about giving opportunities to people who have been historically marginalized, are just as willing to hire their friends.
Is that what equity means? Giving opportunity or guaranteeing outcomes?
No, it's giving access.
Because that's what equity means.
Scott, what
Actually,
it's
It's a
doing is
difference.
giving-
There's a
it's
difference between
giving
equality
access.
and
Hold on.
equity.
No,
Hold on,
it's giving
Carrie,
access.
I just
Scott.
want to answer his question because I
Wouldn't
think this
talent
is
and-
super.
and hard work give
Scott,
you
I think this
access?
is incredibly
In theory.
important for you to understand and for everybody to understand at home. Okay, this is where I think we go crossways on this issue. You just asked the question: what does equity mean? Does it mean equality or does it mean access to opportunities? And conservatives want to define it a particular way, but you have to acknowledge. I'm asking you to acknowledge that people who believe in DEI do not define it that way. They do not define it as equality.
I think they define it as trying to guarantee outcomes, and I think
No.
they define it
Can I
as trying,
speak
as
to the
trying
maybe
to
not,
punish
like-
people they don't like.
Scott, that's
The
not
not-
true.
wrong race, wrong
Speaking
gender.
from
I
more
think
of
that's
the
what it's
middle
all
of the
about.
country who's not hyper-partisan on this issue, I think that people generally think diversity is a virtue. It makes businesses better. It makes institutions better. But they also don't like when you have companies or organizations that are spending huge amounts of money to stand up DEI office. As an example, Fairfax County Public Schools, $400,000 spent on a DEI office, but kids are not reading at the levels that they should. They're not advancing at the levels that they should. It's not the issue
But were
of
they
diversity.
doing that before the office was stood up?
Well, no, and probably not. And so I'm not saying
so
the
maybe,
connection.
So maybe
it's the-
implementing DEI might actually help
but
people
it's
have
not
a
an
better
argument
educational
against
outcome.
DEI. It's how much of our resources are we actually putting?
But that's
to
not what that's not the way the conversation is being posed in America today. The conversation about DEI and woke and all of that sounds about marginalized Black and brown people who already are threatened seem to be threatened in this community, in this society, and they're not getting the same opportunities. It was the same thing with affirmative action. Went to UCLA, they got rid of affirmative action. Everyone said you got in because of affirmative action. When I graduated, affirmative action didn't take my test. Affirmative action didn't help me get to where I'm at today. It gave me access that I didn't have based on the opportunity that I lacked because of the circumstances I was born into, which had nothing to do with me, but the country in which we live in. And so the reality is—
Have you seen
that
the test scores of UCLA Medical, by the way?
My point being, Scott, is that everyone doesn't have the same access. People like to hire their friends. They like to hire the people that they like to be around.
Do you think they like to
But I
hire the
also
best people for the
think,
job?
but I also think
Maybe.
around the idea of diversity.
No, Donald
it
Trump
should-
hired all of his friends.
So that one guy at the table was 100% right about people getting jobs through people they know just being human nature. People hire people they like. They're going to be around each other a lot. Wouldn't that be preferable to working with someone you can't stand? It's extremely logical, but this is clear that they're all arguing out of emotion. And how would hiring a woman or minority address that aspect of human nature? I don't think their arguments make a lot of sense. Oh, earlier in the video, I forgot to point this out because I thought it was funny. Carrie Champion said, "Do you think DEI had anything to do with Donald Trump's cabinet?" Think about that question for a second, if it's not sinking in. I don't think she knows what DEI is. If she did, her question would have been framed completely differently. Oh yeah, and to Ashley Allison's point, if people were hired because of DEI, you can almost guarantee that they're not the most qualified for the job. Because the second that you say, I need to hire a woman or I need to hire someone from this race, you're excluding 50% or more of the hiring pool. If she was being intellectually honest, she would say that the folks that are most hurt by DEI are women and minorities or whatever other subgroup that earned every single job, promotion, achievement with hard work, discipline, and a strong will. Because if DEI is known to be in effect at a workplace, even if you work with the most non-judgmental people on the planet, there will still be a small seed of doubt in the back of their mind that says, I wonder if they really earned this job. And I could see someone being aware of that has that job, wondering back the other way, does that person respect me or do they think I'm a DEI hire? You know, and that's funny, is I've heard proponents of DEI say employees love it. But I know for a fact that the scenario I just described exists. And to me, That certainly seems like a situation that would divide people. Good news is DEI is on its last breath. Like I said earlier, I can't even believe we're still talking about it. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with me that DEI is on its last leg, or are there more people like these idiots in the studio there than I realize? I just don't see them, but that's just my experience. Let me know what you think in the comments. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you like watching videos of Scott Jennings just own a bunch of liberals, then click on one of the videos that's about to pop up on your screen. Otherwise, as always, I've got the best viewers on the planet. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you taking a couple minutes out of your day to watch my video. It means so much to me. Never forget, Jesus loves you. We'll see you guys.